So the Lakers are in a massive dilemma right now. So obviously, just yesterday, Danny Hurley turned down an offer, a pretty large offer, to join the Lakers as their new head coach and is returning over to UConn. Now, me personally, I would have been very interested to see what he could have brought to the table, given how great he was in the NCAA, winning back-to-back titles. And we all know, like, the theme generally with college coaches, great college coaches, marquee college coaches, is that they're not always great when they get to the NBA. You can look at like John Calipari, didn't have a great run in the NBA. Rick Pitino didn't have an amazing run in the NBA. Billy Donovan was just okay, but if you're looking at things now, he's like on the verge of not having a head coaching spot within the next couple of years, right? From the way things are looking right now in Chicago, where they haven't been able to do anything meaningful. So that's been the theme with college coaches as far as coming over to the pros. I wanted to see if Danny Hurley could kind of break that monotony, but obviously we're not going to be able to see it because he is going to be back and coaching the Huskies. And I think it's good for him, right? UConn is probably going to offer him more. That interview with the Lakers was good leverage for them to possibly give him more in an offer to extend him. Also, at the same time, it didn't make sense for his personal brand to go and join an organization where if things go wrong by the second year, you're gone. Flat out. And if you're gone, you're probably going to end up being an assistant somewhere. That's just how things work with Lakers coaches, right? Especially with how Darvin Ham got treated. He was out after 2 years, 2 really short years, and now he's back to being an assistant coach in Milwaukee, which is still a good job, but it's not a head coach, right? And you're still kind of back and playing a lesser role on a coaching staff. I didn't want that to happen to Danny Hurley. He wants to continue to kind of build his legacy out here, and UConn makes a ton of sense for him. So now with the Lakers, they're in this situation where they've lost all their top candidates pretty much. James Borrego was a really good candidate. It looks like Cleveland's going to sweep him away. Those talks have gotten even stronger over the last couple of days. Obviously, Danny Hurley's gone. And JJ Redick, I'm reading stuff, and I don't know how true it is, but I'm reading stuff that the Danny Hurley interview kind of scared him away from LA, right? Rubbed him the wrong way, seeing them make it look like he was their top candidate. Just last week, that was the news that they were going to go for JJ Redick. And then the next day, Danny Hurley is brought in for an interview. They offer him a ton of money. So that could rub JJ Redick the wrong way. And we're also hearing things where he's like not really anticipating going over to that situation, which right now isn't a dumpster fire just yet, but could be a dumpster fire. So the Lakers right now are literally on the brink of being a dumpster fire organization where they have to make this choice. Do we continue to commit towards building with LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and all signs are pointing towards them doing that? Or do we start preparing for the future? That's the choice. And like I said, it looks like they're going to stick with this LeBron James and Anthony Davis thing. The only way they optimize that, and there's no other way around it, is getting a third guy. So that means giving away a lot of future assets, draft capital especially, to bring in a third all-star around those two guys. That makes it very, very tough for you to build for the future. Now, obviously, you may be able to flip whoever you bring in, right, if that doesn't work out, for more draft capital. But generally, if you're looking at this Lakers team, they have not done a good enough job at setting themselves up for the future. So I think every championship level team, once they kind of get into their later years, should be prepared for the future. If you look at the Warriors, yes, they won in 2022, but that entire time, even when they were winning, they had their eyes set on the future. So what if we end up having to break away from the Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green thing? And what if we end up getting thrusted into a rebuilding position? Do we have the assets to do that? Right now, there's Jonathan Kuminga, there's Brandon Pajemski, there's Trace Jackson Davis, right? There are pieces here where they can build from moving towards the future if they have to go in this rebuilding situation. Right now, the Lakers just don't look prepared for that at all. So the fear here with LA is this. They're going to try to build around AD and LeBron. The issue with those two guys is, for one, how much gas does LeBron have left in the tank? Yes, the numbers are there, but there's just no doubt that he's just not the same player. And it's natural because of age. Then there's Anthony Davis, right? He was very healthy last year, the healthiest we've seen him be in a while. But even still, there's still a level of pessimism with him and his durability and things like that, and just how consistent he can truly be. So that's where they're at with this current situation. They're going to have to get a third star player on top of that. So they're on the latter part of this LeBron and Anthony Davis era, and they have not done anything at all to really move and plan for the future, right? So they're kind of stuck trying to optimize this thing that may have already seen their window close. The LeBron and AD thing, it may have already seen its window close. It may already be over with. So it kind of seems like right now they're cramming all of their last things into trying to make this work. And they're kind of trying to play catch up a little bit while the rest of the league is getting better, while the rest of the league is developing. The Timberwolves are going to be a different team next year. They're probably going to move away from Karl-Anthony Towns and build that team better around Anthony Edwards. The Denver Nuggets are going to be back and strong next season. The Mavericks are going to be back and strong next season, win or lose this NBA Finals series. So it seems like while the rest of the league has gotten better, right, this Lakers team has just kind of stayed in the same category, in the same little territory, and they haven't done much to improve. And so right now, it looks like they're really trying to play catch up with the rest of the league. And it's really tough because, like I said, if this thing doesn't end up working, have they done enough to plan and develop for future scenarios? And here's even this. LeBron has this player option this particular summer, right? And I think he's going to come back here to LA, right? He's going to kind of wait it out and see what they do during the draft and see what they do from a head coaching standpoint. But what if he opts out and goes onto the free agent market? That's a possibility, right? We've seen him do that before, scare the team a bit, then re-sign. But this could be different. This is a completely different situation than LeBron's ever been in at any point in his career. What if LeBron walks for nothing? What if that's the case? Then, like I said, what do you have from there to plan and move towards the future? Because Anthony Davis is not a player you can build around. I hate saying it, but he's just not. AD is not a number one option on a championship level squad. He is best when he's around somebody else, right? He's deferred to on some possessions and in some situations, but he is not a number one guy. A lot of people have had those conversations about number one options on championship level teams. AD's not a player that I'd want to build around. So it's a tough situation here for LA. And it really makes you question, should they have stepped away from that rebuild thing they had going with Lonzo Ball? And I've had that, debate with people before where they were kind of like, yeah, they just walked away from what was a really good rebuild to bring LeBron in. But at the same time, they did get a championship the year after he came, right? So in hindsight, do we really blame the Lakers for giving up on that rebuild to win a title? What I think happened was after that, they were really cheap. They didn't want to bring guys back, and that bit them in the ass, and they weren't able to have the assets to repeat that success in 2020, right? So I don't think it was they made a mistake by not continuing with that rebuild with Lonzo and those guys, even though I would have loved to see where that would have taken them. I think the mistake was they did everything wrong after winning a championship. So it all comes back to bad GMing. And I think bad GMing has been the death of this team in the past, has been a reason behind their lack of success, and is going to be the death of this team moving forward. If this thing collapses, if the LeBron AD era ends up collapsing, they're going to be playing catch up for a few years because this front office just did not do their job right. I think that's what it's all going to come down to. A lot of bad decision making, a lot of rushed decisions, a lot of perceived good ideas that just did not turn out to convert for this team. And I think that's where they're at right now. So we'll see. But I think we've seen players get thrown on the bus so much. We've seen coaches get thrown on the bus so much. I think the ultimate death of this team and the ultimate death of this LeBron AD era is going to be the decisions of their front office, point blank, period. So you really hate seeing it for a franchise that we wanted to see have this level of success, right? We wanted to see them get back into championship status, and they were able to, but they were not able to repeat that success. So we all remember there was a span of time like after 2013 where they were just really bad. They were still on ESPN every night, but they were just horrible, right? They had guys who would be bench riders on any other group kind of being out there starting, and there was Kobe mixed in there a couple of times, but they were bad for a while. So what happened was Lakers fans got really impatient with that, and the Lakers, and being in Los Angeles, that's a tough market to rebuild in, to convince fans to buy into a rebuild because they want to win immediately. That's not something that Lakers fans are used to. Generally speaking, with that franchise, they are used to winning. It's not like it's like the Cowboys, just like them, where they're used to winning. There are only so many years of a rebuilding process that the fans can stomach and take in. Same here with the Lakers. So it's a bunch of bad decisions, a lot of rushed decisions, because they understand that the fans want to see this team win ASAP, right? And they want to see this team be the best in the league every time down. And who doesn't? But at the same time, you have to make sound decisions. And I think the noise from the fans influenced this front office so much, and it made them make rushed, brash decisions. And here they are right now. And again, it's not over with, right? I'm not saying they won't win a championship next year, but it doesn't look like it. The outlook right now here for the Lakers just is not very, very good. And like I said, it was kicked off by questionable front office moves, and the death of this entire thing, if it's not going to be injuries, is also going to be front office moves. Point blank, period. So we'll see what ends up happening here for the Lakers, but very tough situation starting this offseason off with the coaching. You start your offseason, you have a lot of really good candidates in Borrego, who's a great offensive coach, Danny Hurley, which would have been great, JJ Redick, which would have been interesting, and now those guys don't look like they want to do it anymore, right? Redick has like 1 foot in and 1 foot out from what I'm reading. So we'll see what ends up happening here for the Lakers this offseason, but not so great of a start from them, and we'll see how things end up happening over these next couple of months.